Let's take a look at my new pedal board. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Guitar Gear Trader. I am Steve, coming at you from Nashville, Tennessee, and today I want to talk to you about my pedal board build and take a look at how I set it up and some of the stuff that I use and some of the pedals that are on that board, because I've been talking about pedals and things like that for a couple of episodes now. So I got all the things I needed in order to build that pedal board that I wanted, and let's do that together. But first, if you wouldn't mind hitting subscribe, hitting the bell, giving me a like, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment on the video if you like it, if you hate it, if you think I did it right, if you think I did it wrong, any suggestions you might have. I'd really appreciate it. It helps out the algorithm, it helps out the channel. And that's all we really need, but thanks. So please do that, and follow me on Instagram at Guitar Gear Trader as well. And we can discuss things there, and you can comment over there as well and interact with me there too. So tonight I want to do a little bit of a spotlight, so to speak, on a local store. And I've been in contact with this store for a couple of weeks now with the owner, and I've been promising him that I was going to get into the store to actually interview him and really give a good showcase of the store. But I've been so busy the past couple of weeks, I really don't have time to drive an hour out outside of Nashville to get to his store. But we've been talking, and I bought some stuff from him over the internet, or over Instagram, actually. That's how I found him. And I had no idea his store even existed. So there's a town in Tennessee near Nashville called Lebanon, Tennessee. And he owns a store. His name is Mark Aquila, or Aquila. And he owns a store called FX Pedals. And here's his card. If you want to get that info off the card there, you can pause, get the info. But it's a FX pedal store. And they deal in new and used guitar and bass effects, pedals, accessories, and more. And their website is called fxpedalsusa.com. I actually have their website here that I can share with you. And it's it's a place where you can go and get all types of different stuff. You can get pedal boards. They'll make you personalized pedal boards. Accessories for your boards, power supplies, wires, cables. They sell some amplifiers, some acoustic amps, and then they have all the types of pedals that you could possibly want. Modeling pedals, delay pedals, compression, chorus, DI boxes, distortion pedals, some regular guitar amps, EQs, filters, flangers, phasers, foot switches, fuzz pedals, loopers, multi-effects pedals, octaves, pitchers, overdrives, boosts, preamps, reverbs, rotaries, other types of switches, tremolos, wah pedals, vocal pedals, used gear. Okay. They also they have a tech that does maintenance on amplifiers, and they probably do maintenance on pedals. I would assume as well, if you have a pedal that needs maybe a pot cleaned or something like that. And I really highly suggest that you give Mark over at FX Pedals some of your business. And like I said, they'll mail you stuff, they'll ship it to you, so you can go on the website and buy stuff from them. This is not a paid advertisement at all. I'm just trying to support a local business. And what I bought from Mark was I needed some patch cables. So recently I bought some. So the pedal board that I have, I need specific lengths of patch cables in order for me to hook up the pedals in the order I want them to on the board. So I went online, and the first thing I did was try to learn about how do I make my own patch cables. And I quickly realized that I do not want to learn how to make my own patch cables, because it has a lot of soldering to do, and it looks really tedious. And you have to buy the the plugs, and you have to buy the cable separate, and there's all these steps and things. And for somebody that is as busy as I am, I really don't have time to sit and make patch cables and learn how to do them and do them right. And if you mess them up, it could be costly. So what I did was I bought a Boss make your own patch cable kit, and I will show it to you here. And I did a lot of research on it, and it seemed to get pretty good reviews. However, I could not replicate the outcome that other people were able to get with this kit. So it was 24 feet of cable with 24 gold contact plugs. And what you do with this kit is you can cut the cable to the length. So you would measure the length of your patch cable from where you're plugging it into and where you're plugging it out from, and you would cut the cable, and then all you would have to do is stick the cable into one of those metal sleeves, I guess, and then screw it down, and it makes a connection inside of the tip, and then it's supposed to work. Well, I made myself 12 of these, because you have the way I'm doing it, I'm putting these into a looper. So each pedal that I use needs 2 different plugs or cables, patch cables. And I made all of them. I cut all the wire up into different, sizes that I need, and I measured it all and I hooked it all up. The only thing is I don't have anything to test them with. So I did it all first and cut them all up and, plugged them all in. And I went to go play it, and I was so happy to have it all done, because it took me a couple of, hours to do that. And I hook it up to the amp, and nothing worked. Absolutely nothing worked. So I figured, all right, it's probably just one of these things that I screwed up, and I probably only have to fix one thing. I got the first cable, and I fixed it, and it worked. And then after that, the other 11 cables I couldn't get to work. I couldn't get to fix them. It wasn't doing anything right for me, and this cost me $120. So I promptly called, I messaged Mark on Instagram, because we've been talking for a while. And I said, do you make, individual, made to order patch cables? And he said, yeah. And I was like, all right, well, I might need you to make me some patch cables. How much would it cost? And he gave me the price, and the price wasn't very far off from what I paid for the kit. Like I said, I paid $120 for the kit on Amazon. And it's the same. They sell the same kit at Musician's Friend or Sweetwater or Guitar Center or anything like that. It was a little bit cheaper. It was like $170 at Sweetwater, and I think I got it for $120. So his price to make me the amount of cables and hand solder them all, because the ones that I was using were solderless. I didn't want to learn how to solder, so you just push the wire into the sleeve, and you screw it in, and it's supposed to work. Well, it didn't. And they got good reviews on YouTube and other platforms. So I was really kind of surprised. I really hope the Amazon should take them back. They gave me a label to send it back. Hopefully they give me my money back. But I called up Mark, and he's like, yeah, we make them. And he was only like maybe $40 or $50 more expensive, but he's hand soldering all of these. And he's going to ship them to me. I mean, I know he's in my state, and he's only an hour away from me, so shipping is probably not much. But this takes time, and this is labor, and this is, someone has to sit there and do this and measure these out and hand solder each one of these connections inside of these plugs. So I figured for the $50, it was worth the extra $50 to do it. And he had them done in 4 days, and he had them mailed to me and in my hands in just about 5 days. And that was over a weekend. So if I ordered them from him on a Thursday, and it's now Tuesday, it's now Wednesday, and they're already in my hands. So thank you so much to Mark. And these are the patch cables that I need, and I got them in all different sizes, and I just told him what sizes I need, and all I did was measure the ones that I had cut from the Boss kit, and gave him the sizes, and he cut them up for me, and I got them, and I want to put them on my board. I'm really excited to put them on my board. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to switch the camera angle, and I'm going to show you my board, show you how I want to set it up, and then we're going to set it up and show you how I'm going to work it. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, so this is my crazy antiquated pedal board. So it's a Furman SPB8C that I had one of these many years ago when I first started playing in a band. And the reason I like this board in particular is because it has a built-in Furman power supply with 420 VAC outputs that you can plug things into, like external 9-volt adapters. You can also plug in your amplifier into here to have it surge protected. Okay, this is just added protection for all of your devices and for your amps if you wanted that surge protection there. It's not just 9-volt protection, it's also anything that you can plug in with a traditional plug. So I have this, another reason I liked it was because it's here you have all these inputs and sends and returns. So you can actually set this up to where you have your pedals, you have your guitar going in, and then you have your pedals being plugged all into this. If you daisy chain the pedals, you can, at the end of one pedal, bring it and put it into this, into one of these inputs. And then this one is the amp out. So you put your guitar into one of these. You would put your pedals into this board as well. And then you would put the guitar, or you would put the line out into the front of the amp. You could also put in the way I used it was that, the guitar would go in. I would have my dry effects going into this bottom row here. And then I would have my wet effects going into my effects loop at the top here. So I would have a top row of wet effects like my choruses, delays, reverbs, phasers. That would be fed into my effects loop on the back of my amp, which would be plugged into here. And then my dry effects would be in the front, my overdrives, my tuner, things like that. And that would just go into the front of the amp. What I'm doing here is a little bit different. I want to make this a little bit more intuitive, I guess, and workable. And this is just the foot switcher for my amp that I'm using at the time. So I can replace that with any amp that I'm using at the moment. I can put the orange foot switch there. I can put the Friedman foot switch there. I can put the Marshall foot switch there. Doesn't really matter. I have it all Velcroed. The bottom of this is Velcroed. Okay. What I wanted to start doing was I wanted to start using this looper. And the looper is basically going to make the board essentially like, in my mind, it's going to make this board the equivalent of a multi-effects pedal board, like those analog multi-effects pedal boards. And I don't necessarily like those big multi-effects pedal boards, like the big Zoom pedals or the big Vox pedals that have 150 different presets in them. I like individual pedals that I can choose. I like to be able to change them on the fly instead of going into a program and changing them. I like to be able to just switch the knobs on the pedals that I want to use. And what this looper can do is you can plug in all your pedals, keep them all on, and then you can program which pedals go onto which buttons. Okay, and I'll show you that as we go along. But first thing is, this is how I had to have it set up. I had to have some of these pedals backwards because it just didn't fit with it the right way around. That's why I had to get the pedals from Mark over at Effects Pedals. The cables, the patch cables over from Mark at the Effects Pedal store. So I'm going to take this apart. We're going to have a fresh start and then we'll come back and talk. Okay, so essentially how this works is that you have an input here for your guitar. So your guitar gets plugged directly into this switcher. Okay, this switcher has 8 inputs for effects pedals, and they're called loops. So you have loop 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is called loop 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is called loop 2, and this is loop 1 and loop 2, loop 2, loop 3, loop 4. So you got 2 separate loops, each with 4 individual loops in them. This loop goes before the amp. This loop goes into the effects loop of the amp. So you're going to put your dry effects into these 4 spots. You can put up to 4 dry effects there, or you can put it whatever you want, to be honest, doesn't matter. But this set of 4 and this set of 4, if you want them to, can go through the effects loop. If you don't want them to, you want to put them all before the amp, that's fine. Then you just wouldn't use these 2 plugs here. So these 2 plugs are going to go to my effects loop in the back of my amp. And I have them kind of tied together with that plastic tubing so that I can keep it nice and neat. If you didn't want to put these into your effects loop, let's say you're using a clean amp and you're only using pedals for your distortion, then you wouldn't really need to use the effects loop. So you would just unplug these, and then all 8 of the pedals would be essentially in front of the amp. But because I want to use the distortion on the amplifier, and I want to use, sometimes I want to use this distortion on my clean channel, I'm going to send my wet effects, my delays and my reverbs and stuff like that into my effects loop. So I'm going to use my effects loop for this. This is the output for loop 1. So the dry effects are going to come out of this and go, and this will go directly to the front of my amp and plug directly into the front of my amplifier. I'm probably going to put this down this way because this is a pretty long cable. It's about a 20-foot cable. I'm probably going to put it down this way and make it snake around the end of the board like that. Okay, that's probably how I'm going to do it because I don't like the way it looks standing up, kind of just sitting up like that. Not a big fan of how that looks. So I'm probably going to try to do it so that it's laying down this way along the board here. So first thing I want to do is set up my pedals in the way I want them, and I have to make sure I leave room. So I'm just going to make believe this is my guitar input, right? So my guitar is going to plug into here, and right next to that input there's another input for your tuner. So you don't have to use any of these loops for your tuner itself. This goes directly to your tuner, just like that. Okay, probably going to try to use something like this for the tuner, and that way the tuner is always going to be on. The tuner will always be on, and then if I hit this switch, it'll bypass and go right to my tuner and put my signal right into the guitar tuner. So I don't have to use a loop for that, but we can figure that out at the end. It's more important to get these ready first. So here I have my Scran pedal. This is an overdrive pedal that gives a really good 90s distortion tone, very like Oasis sounding or Radiohead, okay, things like that, that kind of like 90s alternative sound. This pedal is going to be doing double duty with the Jackson Audio Golden Boy. And depending on what's in the set, I'm either going to use this, which gives you more of a traditional amp distortion with a 3-band EQ, and it has different presets in it. It's a really cool pedal. That's going to be switching out with this pedal depending on what songs are in the set list. But right now this is going to go in because we have some Radiohead and some 90s alternative in there. Plus I can get this kind of distortion from my actual amplifiers, so I don't really need this distortion. So I'm going to be using this one, and I'm going to be using the Marshall Blues Breaker. I have a whole video on this Marshall Blues Breaker, so go check that one out. And this is going to be used primarily for like classic rock tones, okay, kind of like lighter distortion, kind of just at the edge of breakup tones for classic rock songs. Okay, then I have my Boss GE7. I think it's 7-band equalizer. That's what the 7 stands for. 7-band equalizer. I use this essentially for a boost. I use it as a boost pedal. I'm the rhythm guitar player, and a lot of times when my lead guitar player goes into his leads, it kind of drowns out my my sound. So I just kind of give myself a mid boost and put my volume up a little bit and just click that on when he goes into his solo, and you can still hear my guitar being played through that. So these are going to go through my 1, 2, 3, and 4 of loop number 1. And then my wet signal, I have a MXR micro chorus, pretty famous little pedal. I like these because they have one knob and it doesn't confuse me. I'm also getting a Rockman 100. I have that on pre-order from Sweetwater. So that's probably going to replace this. I can't wait to get that pedal. That's a brand new pedal for this year. Then I have the trusty MXR Phase 90. Absolutely love this. Again, only one switch, nice and easy. And then my delay is going to be the Boss DD3T. It's got the tap tempo. That's what the T stands for. I don't use that. I just set up my delays just to give me a little bit of, if I do any solo work or if I do any fills or leads, I punch this on to give me some cool delays in the back. And I have a Holy Grail reverb coming, so it's going to be my chorus. And I've heard a lot of people say they put chorus before or in their dry chain. If you do that, let me know. Tell me what you like better. Should my chorus go in my wet section or should my chorus go in my dry section? So those 4 are going to be in my wet section up there. So let me get this plugged up over here and we'll come back. Okay, so I have it all wired up. Now I know it might not look as pretty as some of the newer boards, because a lot of these newer boards that you see have, you know, like spaces in between and you can feed the wires underneath and plug them in. This board isn't like that, obviously. So my cables are kind of exposed, and because these are square cables, square plugs at the end, they all have to sit face up. If they were straight plugs like this, then they all could have went in like that and given me a little bit more leeway there, but that's okay because I don't need it to look pretty. I just need it to be functional, and I just need to be able to get to the knobs when I need them. And for the most part, everything is, all the knobs are available for me to mess with. The only one that's not really is this first pedal over here, but that's really a kind of set it and forget it. So if I get that in rehearsals dialed in the way I need it to, that should be okay for the show. I still have 2 cables left over to put my Holy Grail reverb in. That Holy Grail reverb is going to go up in here, and it's going to go into my last loop over here, so I have plenty of room to plug that in over there. So let me, and then my, like I said, my foot switch for the amp, for the distortion on the amp will go over here, and that plug goes right into the amp with a 1/4-inch instrument jack. So let me just give you a little demo about how this kind of thing kind of works. So when I turn this on, okay, all of my stuff goes on here, and every pedal has to be on. That's how this has to work. So as of right now, if I hit A, these 2 loops are selected. Now I don't have anything into this loop, so that would give me a dead signal. So I have to reorganize that. And I have banks. I have up to 8 banks and I can switch between the banks like that. And I can have 4 presets per bank. So I can have, I guess, 8 times 4 is 32. I can have 32 different preset sounds there. So let's say bank 1 is going to be the bank that I use for my clean tones. Okay, so my distortion pedal, well, my distortion on my amp will be off, and I will just be using the clean channel on the amp. And then what pedals do I want on at certain times? Okay, so let's say that for a nice clean, like we play a couple songs that have nice clean delays on them. So I hold this button down. If I select my channel, I want to be on A, so I'm going to program button A. And now I can turn on and off whatever pedals I want. So let's say for this channel, on my clean channel, I just want to have a little bit of delay, and that's all I want. So I would choose my delay pedal, which is going to be in loop 2, which would be button C. And I hold this down, and now 1A button C is going to be my delay pedal. So I know I'm in bank 1, I'm going to be on clean, and if I click on A, it's going to give me just my delay pedal. So now let's say I want to have delay and I want to have a little bit of distortion as well. Or you know what, let's just say I just want some distortion. So then I can choose foot switch B. We're going to program it to be the distortion pedal, the blues breaker, which is in loop 2 right there. And I hold that down. So now A is just my delay, B is my blues breaker by itself. Let's say I want the blues breaker along with the EQ, right? I want to add my EQ onto it. Let's say we're doing a Tom Petty song and the solo comes up and I want my signal to be heard over the solo. I want to hit my EQ pedal on in addition to my blues breaker, but I want to turn my delay off or something like that, right? So we're going to be on C. We're going to program C. We're going to turn that one off, and we want the blues breaker, which is this one, and we want the EQ, which is this one. Hold that down, and now I programmed these 2 pedals to go on with 1 foot switch. So I can go from delay to a distorted boost in 1 click. So instead of tap dancing around, turning off the delay, turning on the blues breaker, turning on the EQ, right? Because that would be 3 foot switches, right? So to go from here, which is just clean with delay, and I want to go to distorted with a boost, I would have to turn the delay off, turn the boost on, turn the distortion on, turn the EQ on. That's 3 pedals I have to manipulate with my feet. Meanwhile, I'm going to mess something up with my hands. But now all I have to do is hit 1 switch and those 2 pedals come on. And if I want to take the EQ off, I just go to B because I programmed just to have the blues breaker in B. Okay. And I can set this any way I want. So depending on what's in the set, I can set that any way I want. Let's say bank number 2 is going to be on my distortion channel. Okay, so I'm going to have this distortion coming from the amp. I'm going to want, the thing that I'm going to want most likely, is my EQ, my delay, and my reverb. and maybe a little bit of chorus. But the EQ is going to be the thing that I want most, and then the delay is probably going to be second. So on 2A, I'm going to choose my EQ pedal, which is in number 3. Number 4, I don't have anything in, so I can't choose that. So on A, I'm going to choose my equalizer, my EQ pedal, which is going to be in loop 3. Okay. So whenever I'm on distortion and I need a little boost, I'm going to go to A. Let's say I don't want any boost. I can just bypass the whole thing like that, and then it just gives me my normal guitar signal. If I want my boost, I hit A. Let's say I am going to do a solo for this song, and I want my delay and my EQ at the same time. I'm going to select, hold on, I'm going to select B, and I'm going to select my EQ and my delay. My delay is, I should get a piece of tape and write this down. My delay is this one. So I'm going to, okay, that's my delay. And I'm also going to choose my EQ, which is going to be this one. And I hold that down, and I go from just a boost to a boost with delay. And then if I wanted to add other stuff onto it, I can. And I don't want to bore you with all that, but that's pretty much the pedal board as of right now. Like I said, the Holy Grail will go up here, and that's probably going to just stay on for the most part on all of my loops. So that'll probably be my default loop for both bank 2 and bank 1. So I'm probably going to redo all those. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how that was going to work. So, all right, let's go back on top. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you enjoyed seeing my pedal board and how I put it together and how old it is and how ancient it is and how old and ancient I am. And I know I have to come into the new stuff sooner or later. But I think this board is going to suit my needs, and it makes more sense to me in my head about how it's going to work. Once I have it all set up with the reverb, the Holy Grail reverb on there, I will show it to you guys again, and I'll even demo it through an amp for you so that you can hear how it sounds and to see how it functions. Once again, make sure you check out FX Pedals. That's fxpedalsusa.com. Make sure to check them out and ask for Mark. He's a good dude. It's a small business. It's a mom and pop shop. He needs all the business that he can get, and I was very glad to help him out, and I'm super glad that he helped me out too. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram at Guitar Gear Trader. Leave a comment. Hit the like. And until next time, peace out.